What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to this Anfield Agenda late night news roundup, where, as promised, I'm going to be discussing Liverpool's plans to make a bid, at least according to one report, for Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa, a player whom I'm sure many of you guys admire, myself similarly. Let's try to figure out if we think there's any truth to this or if it's just newspaper talk. We're also going to give you the latest on Jerel Quansah and his future, and the willingness from Frankfurt to let Hugo Ekitike go. We'll talk about that as well. That and lots more to come here on Virgil van Dijk Day. And once again, happy Virgil van Dijk Day to all of you. Again, a reminder about our end of season shows. Last day of the season, and then 3 days later, May 28th, we will be at the Hot Water Comedy Club. Both shows are priced at just £20. Both shows are all ages events, and you can get your ticket with the QR code on the screen or the link in the description. Right, folks, let's start off with a conversation around Jerel Quansah. So there's been lots of reports suggesting that Liverpool could be looking to cash in on Jerel this summer, and I would be one of those people who thinks there's some credibility to that. But James Pearce of The Athletic, he writes differently. He said Liverpool insists that Jerel Quansah, who signed a new 5-year contract in October, isn't for sale. Well, look, I wouldn't expect the club to publicly come out and say he was for sale, to be fair. And I'm not saying that there isn't a chance that James Pearce is right here. I just get the feeling that Arne Slot isn't convinced by him. I've seen other reports linking him with moves to Newcastle and a few other Premier League clubs. And I think if an offer came in anywhere upwards of £35-40 million, maybe a bit higher, I think Liverpool would be interested. If you could sell him and bring in Dean Huijsen, to me, that's an upgrade. We have to keep an eye on the Canade situation, of course, as well. And we got to keep an eye on the homegrown quota. On that, don't rule out a move for Anthony Gordon. Newcastle may have to sell some players this summer with PSR situation being as it is. But even if they don't, Harvey Barnes coming through and showing that he's starting to deliver at St James's Park means that I think we could see a world where if Luis Diaz is sold, we could see Anthony Gordon revisited, and of course that would again help with the homegrown quota. So do keep an eye on that situation over the coming weeks. Now, I mentioned we're going to speak a little bit about Hugo Ekitike, and Marcus Kreusch had this to say. Hugo has developed very well. He's an interesting player for top clubs. He's still very young and has good prospects. 3 months ago, we sat here and discussed Omar Marmoush. If our players deliver exceptional performances, we won't stand in their way. Ironically, tonight, him and Frankfurt were knocked out of the Europa League by Spurs. I wonder if that will impact the price. It certainly won't send it skyrocketing any higher, but it'll be interesting to see if Liverpool do make a move for Hugo. Another player to keep an eye on that Liverpool are tracking is João Pedro. Again, the price tag Brighton are putting on his head seems, well, quite prohibitive to any deal. You know the other names mentioned. Isak will be the dream. I don't think that's happening. Julian Alvarez, again, same situation. But Hugo Ekitike looks like he is going to be departing Frankfurt this summer. It's just a matter of how much and where to. And let me know what you think on that. A bit of an update to our fixtures as well. A change to our second to last game of the season. So this was posted earlier on. A new kick-off time has been announced, and credit Anfield Sector for this post, for Liverpool's penultimate Premier League game of the season at the Amex against Brighton and Hove Albion. The match will now be shown, or will now take place, Monday, May 19th with an 8 p.m. kickoff. So a nice evening game there for the second to last one of the season. So once again, May 19th, 8 p.m, Monday kickoff for the game against Brighton. Now, I did say I wanted to spend some time talking about Morgan Rogers, and I do. But before I go and move on to the main topic tonight, I want to get your thoughts on the Trent situation. So there's been some mixed reactions today from Liverpool fans around the Van Dijk situation. When I say that, I certainly don't mean there are some people who are unhappy. I mean, everybody's over the moon that a captain signed a new deal along with Mo Salah. But then people's thoughts initially went straight to Trent and wondered, has he had a change of heart? Is he wobbling? We asked on tonight's Late Night Agenda, we ran a poll and asked, do you think Trent stays? And 80% of people said no, they still think that he departs. I guess until we have a confirmation that he signed for Real Madrid, this is still going to be in the air. But I want to know your thoughts on it. Maybe seeing that Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah commit their futures to the club. Maybe seeing the reaction of the Liverpool fans to the potential of Trent leaving, coupled with the big summer transfer window that's been spoken about at length by many people. Is there a chance he's having a wobble, changing his mind? Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section. Now, this is the biggest story of the day for me, if there is truth to it. And again, I can't tell you whether it is or isn't true, but I can say it's interesting. Football Insider have said, or excuse me, Caught Offside, my apologies, have said, breaking, Liverpool are preparing to make an offer for Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa. Now, I think Aston Villa would be insane to cash in on Morgan Rogers. I don't know if they would have some PSR concerns. Obviously, they're in the hunt right now for Champions League qualification, but they aren't in the box C. Newcastle moved up to third place. Forest are still there or thereabouts. And there's a big game coming up this weekend as well. Villa have just been knocked out of the Champions League, so they may not have that money for next season. And if they don't, do we see a world in which Liverpool do make that move? I want to believe it. Let me say that. I want to believe it, but I'm not convinced. No figure has been mentioned in it, so if you were to have a guess at it, what would you think for Morgan Rogers? And more importantly, would you take Morgan Rogers at Liverpool, and do you think that he would fit into our system? It would kind of feel very much undermining of Unai Emery's project there. I'm sure Villa fans would be looking at this video screaming at me going, you're not getting him. And look, I get it. I'd be the very same in your shoes. But it is a story that was put out there today, and it would be remiss of me not to talk about it. Would I have him at Liverpool? Very much so. It seems a week can't go by these days where I look at Aston Villa's scores and he's either scored or assisted in pretty much most of the games that I can remember in recent times. So am I going to be a hypocrite and say I knew all about him, knew him, tracked him all the way through? No, I didn't. But I've been very impressed with what I've seen. So Liverpool fans, let me know. What are you saying? Morgan Rogers, do you think there is any chance that we see him coming through the AXA training doors? And on Trent Alexander-Arnold's future, has he changed his mind? Has he had a wobble? Over to you to let me know. What I also want to know, let me know in the comments your favourite image of Virgil van Dijk's contract signing today. I love the one of him in the kind of suit of armour, but I do want to know what you guys think. What was your favourite? I've gone through all the quotes in other videos today as well, and what certainly shone through was how much Virgil loves the club, how much the city and the club and the fans, of course, mean to Virgil, and the rumoured 400 grand a week contract. Well, that probably does no harm either, but I want to know what your favourite picture is, and I want to know what your, not thoughts, but what your level of optimism is going into this summer's transfer window. Do you think we'll have the big window that's been spoken about? Virgil certainly seems to believe so. Journalists certainly seem to believe so. I'm somebody that wants to believe, but I'll believe it when I see it. But either way, I'm very happy that Virgil and Mo are tied down. It gives me a lot more ability to enjoy the remainder of this season, and 2 more wins minimum, or maximum, for the Reds to win league title number 20. Will it be this weekend? We'll find out soon, but we will see you tomorrow, 8:45 for the late night agenda. The Premier League predictions video is going to be coming out at 10 a.m. in the morning, so do give me a watch of that and let me know your thoughts. Until then, my friends, have a wonderful evening. We'll talk soon.